Welcome back to the IB student interview with Johnny, Tsadi, and Nasma, part 2, and we thank you for your continued interest in this discussion. Our next question is, what were some things you've had to overcome or learn from being in the IB program?
I think something I had to learn is that like in the beginning, like I'll just give an example. So I think I had to learn was like study habits. I think it was a big thing. Like growing up, like math has come like kind of easy to me. Then I took HL math, and like that was like kind of like a big like hit. Like I never like really studied that like a super amount for like math tests. So like I got like I think an F on like the first like quiz or something, and then I was just like, oh dang. And then so basically I just had to like really spend time like understanding the material, not just kind of like memorizing it, or not just like, oh, I kind of get it and then just go on the test. I would spend like kind of hours before the test, like in days and days, just going through the material, really understanding it, like understanding like every problem that like we're assigned. So yeah, then I was able to like move it up, and I ended up getting like an A in the class after that F. So I kind of learned. So I learned like really strict study habits, and like just not just memorizing like a lot of times that we do, but also just like learning like strong problem solving skills and like understanding material.
I think what I learned is just being able to deal with heavy workloads, um, and just powering through it. There's no like, some easy, quick method to like try and get through it. It's just you just got to do it. And then I think it's beneficial to start doing it in high school because regardless in life, like college route or non-college route, like you're gonna have to deal with a lot of work. So I think IB sets you up for life. Um, you know, so I think that's important or an important thing that I learned.
Yeah, I agree with Jonathan. I think for me, something I had to learn was not to be a perfectionist, and just to kind of know when to stop, I guess. Because if, I think as a student, if you're really um, taking everything you do very seriously, it's going to take so much longer. So also quantity or quality over quantity. So learning how to do things well enough the first time, or well enough in a short period of time that you don't have to be excessive with it. But then also just using my resources, I think is something I really learned. So really utilizing like my other classmates and like online resources, online notes and like videos, because you're not always going to have a teacher who's maybe going to teach you everything you need to know, or you might have to invest some time outside of school. Um, I'm also someone who's able to like study for like 8 hours at a time. And that's something that I've learned about myself through IB, that's something I'm able to do like ahead of finals week or something like that. But I know other friends of mine who have issue like just sitting down and concentrating for that long have had to learn how to like space out their studying, so that it works better for the type of learner that they are. So I know friends who just study maybe like an hour after school of their content like throughout a week, rather than me who might just like sit down the week before finals and just like study the whole day. So I've definitely learned that everyone has different styles of like doing well, and that also when doing assignments and when doing projects for IB, it's really just important that you start off well and that you don't really do work that's not going to help you later on, I guess. Because I know people who just turn in random rough drafts and then do the whole thing the night before. And that's normally really not good. I actually really know people who like did a rough draft EE and then just did their whole EE the night before, like their real thing. So definitely just do, like I've learned, do it good the first time, and make sure to maximize your time and not waste it and be excessive.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And thank you guys for all of that wisdom. Next question. I know it's been a while since you guys applied. So, just if you guys don't know, that's cool. But I feel like a lot of middle school students, they haven't had like notable experiences like clubs or like ways to show leadership a lot, unless they're in part of like, counselor, stuff like that, or like leadership. So what are some things students you think could specifically highlight on their application in order to get into the IB program?
I think like a really good thing. To be honest, I don't necessarily remember exactly what I said for my IB essays because it's been a while. But I think just like any essay or like any application, I think it's really important just to highlight like your goals and like what you want to get out of the IB program, like just really like why you're choosing it and like maybe how does it like sum up it's like the overall reach of what you want to do. Like for me, like, oh, I wanted to go like a top university. I wanted to study like computer science. I want to do this and that. And like I wanted to do IB because it prepared me for it. I want to do IB because the rigor of the classes. I want to do it it's like the GPA boost, all these things. So I really think it's just important to really highlight like how IB is going to set you up for like your greater goals and like how you would be a great fit for IB, whether like, oh, I worked really hard in this class and I learned this and I learned that. I think I'm really prepared for like the IB rigor as well.
I second that, but also maybe try to show like any extracurriculars on school or off school that like reflect your dedication to something. Because I think it's also important to show like whether or how you'll be able to succeed in IB. So if you show your dedication through in leadership through sports or something like that, or a hobby that you really care about, that reflects how much you care about something, and it also reflects the amount of work you'll put in. I'm sure that'll go a long way.
Yeah, I agree with everything they said. And I think, no, they're not really expecting you to like put together like what you would put together for a college application. Like obviously you're a middle schooler and most middle schools don't have like an abundance of clubs on campus and stuff like that. So I don't think they're looking for like a huge catalog of things that you've done, but more just maybe your potential or like what you're looking to do. So definitely talking about what your goals are and how you're kind of a passionate or dedicated student. And then also just tying it back into the IB learner profile is always a good thing to do. And they're always looking for those little things. So maybe just talk about like, oh, how you're a learner, how you're global, and show them that you can be successful in this program and why you want to join, I guess is what I would say.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point. Like talking about like global. Another thing, just like look on the IB website, like look at what they highlight, like what like their descriptions, like why they do the program, like how it kind of relates. Look at like their pillars, and then I would like try to like mention that, like, oh yeah, I'm like was said before, like I'm worldwide, like things like that, or like I'm a creative thinker. I do this, I do that. Like just to exactly highlight exactly what they're looking for.
Yeah, I think that was a really, really good tip. Our second to last question. So what do you guys say to the students who are just like, look, I see I could maybe, prepare me for the future, but that's like the future's problem, like why should I join this program? Like why should I put in the extra effort in high school to join this program?
I feel like from the outside, it does look like a lot of extra effort. And I think it just really depends on what kind of student you are. Like, especially freshman and the sophomore year, it didn't really feel that crazy to me. It felt kind of normal, especially with classes I'd already been taking in middle school, like higher level math and whatever. But I feel like just getting yourself acclimated with the workload now is just always helpful down the line. So I obviously can't speak to college. I think that they could do that better. But I just know from my sister's experience, she just went to an art school and then went to college. And like she goes to Berkeley, or she went to Berkeley, she graduated, but it was definitely an adjustment for her to like adjust to college life and adjust to that level of work. Whereas I know people that have graduated from IB are much more comfortable in college, just because studying multiple hours a night, just on an average weeknight, is something that they were already used to doing. But yeah, I definitely would say it seems like a lot of extra effort right now, but getting into the program isn't, at least in my experience, wasn't that difficult. And the first 2 years and even the first 3 years aren't that hard. And you build up those skills so that you have a higher tolerance level of that work. And so it maybe won't feel as difficult to you as it would to someone who's never been in IB or never been in a higher level program.
Yeah, I think that's just like feeling like why worry about it now. I feel like it's like kind of being like I just think my thing is like you're not gonna get anywhere in life if you're just worried about like if you're not preparing for stuff like in the beginning, like anything you want, any goal you want, if you want to be like rich, if you want to be successful, all these things like that all starts somewhere, and then you always have to like work towards that. So I think like saying that like, oh, I don't really care, like why worry about the future now? Like then that's just gonna, you're just like kind of putting yourself, you're not like reaching your potential, and you're not gonna be able to get like and reach all your goals if you keep on having that type of mindset. So I think it's just really important to like realize that anything that you want in life, like you have to like kind of work for. You have to kind of start at the beginning and like set yourself up to be able to move up in those positions. It's like you want to get to the top of like the stairs, but you don't want to like walk up the stairs like that. There's no way like you're gonna get and be able to do that. So I think if you're, I just really think if you have goals in life, you think that if you want to be like successful, I think like IB, like we're in a saying giving that response isn't like kind of good enough if you want to reach those goals. I think IB is a great program, and if you want to reach those points that where IB can get you, you're gonna have to start now.
I agree with everything that's been said. Another thing is that I think IB forces you to think about the future very early. And being in college in my second year, I know a lot of people who don't really know what they want to do, and which is fine because it's only halfway through the college. It's just I think that the fact that IB forces you to think about like your future early, I think knowing what you want to do earlier than your peers gives you, an edge, and you're ahead of the curve, and then allows you to focus all your energy and towards a specific goal. And I think that's going to leave you better off compared to the people around you. So I think IB will allow you to succeed, or put you in a position to succeed.
The community of IB, like I feel like everyone's like super driven, which I think is like a really beautiful thing. Just the fact that like at least like my friend group, like me and my friend group, like basically all of us got into like UCs. And just be like in that type of circle, I think it's really beneficial for like what you want to do in life. Like I think like Nip said, if you aren't around people who like inspire you, you're not in like you're really in like in a cage. I can't remember the quote exactly, but so when you're around people who are successful, who are driven, like you're also going to become successful. You're also going to be driven. Like when people are like doing their homework, spending those extra hours, you're also going to want to do that as well. So I think IB really gives us that ability to be in a community where everyone's so driven, like want to get to college, wants to get the good grades, that like pushes you to do that as well.
To kind of echo what Tsadi said before we move on, I really agree. And I think I've gotten so many opportunities from IB that I wouldn't have gotten if I wasn't in this program. Like I got a statewide award, and like different opportunities to be in different like boards in the community, which I wouldn't have had access to. I wouldn't have met those people if I wasn't in the program. And I definitely feel like what Tsadi said, being around people who are also driven encourages you to do the same. Because I mean, if you're a type of person who it doesn't matter who you're around, that's great. But I think the majority of people are really, really impacted by the people in their class and the company they keep. So when your company is like working every day after school, or it's always like doing some sort of like community organizing or whatever, it pushes you to also do that and make connections that are similar. And then I feel like the college applications process is getting like so competitive, and it's just honestly outrageous at this point. And even just if you're not like looking for college, but like career pathways and applying to different jobs, it's such a competitive market right now. So anything that you can do to get that edge really, really helps. And yeah, and I feel like once you get to that point, you're going to be so happy that you had that foresight ahead of time to take those steps to put yourself in a better position. Because once you're at a point of applying, you can't go back in time and change what you didn't do. So it's really about, even though it seems so far away, you're going to really thank yourself if you take steps to make sure that, you as a candidate for whatever you're applying for is even stronger.
We thank you for listening to part 2 of the IB student interview with Johnny, Tsadi, and Nasma. To further listen to this discussion, feel free to visit